कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरवनचारी। यमुना तीरवनचारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय प्रभुपादा श्रील प्रभुपादा, प्रभुपादा श्रील प्रभुपादा। नित्यलीला प्रविष्ट जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। ISKCON and BBD founder Acharya, Savior of the whole world, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Jayam Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Shastri Srimati His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Ramacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा पार्थसारथि ललिता विशाखा की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय। श्री श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंहदेव की जय। ग्रंथराज भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसजेंडर बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन मैराथन की जय। निताय निताय गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories Srila Prabhupada Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Desha Tarane ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोन् श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayade girim. Yat kripatamaham vande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Desha Tarine. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 28, Text 16, chapter entitled Puranjana becomes a woman in the next life. Read from text 16 on the whiteboard. Duhitra putra pautrani chapjami. Just one second, hold on. I got the meter wrong. 1 sec. Duhitra putra pautramscha Jamija matra parshadan Svatva vastitam yat kinjid Grihakosha parichadam Duhitra putra pautramscha Jamija matra parshadan Svatva vasishtam yat kinchid Grihakosha parichadam Duhitra putra pautramscha Jamija matra parshadan Svatva vasishtam yat kinchid Grihakosha parichadam Duhitra putra pautramscha Jamija matra parshadan Svatva vasishtam yat kinchid Grihakosha parichadam. Someone else? Jamija matra parshadan Svatva vasishtam yat kinchid Grahakosha parichadam. Mothers, Vaishnavis. Thank you very much. Synonyms, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Dohitraha, daughters, Putra, sons, Pautran, grandsons, Cha, and Jami, daughters-in-law, Jamatra, sons-in-law, Parshadan, associates, Svatva, property, Avashishtam, remaining, Yat Kinchet, whatever, Griha, home, Kosha, accumulation of wealth, Parichadam, household paraphernalia. Can you repeat after me the translation by His Divine Grace? King Puranjana then began to think of his daughters, sons, grandsons, daughters-in-law, sons-in-law, servants, and other associates, as well as his house, his household paraphernalia, and his little accumulation of wealth. Purport. It is not infrequent for a person overly attached to the material body to request a physician to prolong his life at least for some time. If the so-called scientific physician is able to prolong one's life for a few minutes through the use of oxygen or other medicines, he thinks that he is very successful in his attempts, although ultimately the patient will die. This is called the struggle for existence. At the time of death, both patient and physician still think of prolonging life, although all the constituents of the body are practically dead and gone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Before I commence this service of speaking something from Srimad Bhagavatam, I seek the blessings of all the assembled senior Vaishnavas. It's only by your mercy that I can somehow present something for my purification, your pleasure, and for the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. We've been dealing with the context of King Puranjana for the last few weeks, probably months. And in one sense, it is an autobiography or a biography, depending on who's describing. Because Narada Muni is someone who is not subject to the travails that Puranjana was undergoing. Originally Prachina Barhishat, but in an allegorical manner, Puranjana. So for Narada Muni, there is no such situation. Just like Krishna is describing the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And at a very early stage of the Bhagavad Gita, he confirms, Bahuni me veti tani janmani tavacha Arjuna. Tanyaham veta sarvani natvam veta purantapa. You and I have had many births. I remember each one of them. You do not remember all of them. So there is a difference between a conditioned soul and a liberated soul. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a Paramahamsa Samhita, is meant for getting us out of this quagmire of material existence, which Srila Prabhupada beautifully describes here as the struggle for existence. We also hear Darwin speak about the struggle for existence. That's a different one. That's a struggle where one entity tries to win over another entity, kill or eat or outlive at any cost. What we call in the corporate world as the dog-eat-dog world, or the rat race. Now we all know that if it is a rat race, even if you win it, what are you? You're a rat. So that's the whole problem with the struggle for existence. When we look at the sadhaka's life, there is a struggle. But this is a struggle for sadhana. And Srila Satsvarup Das Goswami Maharaj mentions in his book on Japa reform that this struggle is the process. So we may face adversities in relationships, in our sadhana, in services in the form of distributing books to walls who seemingly have so much resistance. Yesterday someone was telling me that you try to knock on the doors of a car and they don't just open up, or they just open up and says, we already have 10 Gitas. So it's like you're running into a wall. So, but this struggle is a sweet struggle. Srila Prabhupada describes this as a burden of love. Or how Mother Yashoda purchased anxiety for Krishna. That's how she became the mother of Krishna. So that's why Srila Prabhupada says that if we continuously distribute books all through your life, one day you will find out that a hand that takes the book is blue. Of course, Krishna. The hand is not Krishna. The hand that takes the book is blue. So that blue-eyed boy, that blue boy, he will help us get out of this struggle for existence. So it is better to struggle for Krishna, like Srila Prabhupada mentioned, when he was asked to slow down in Mayapur, his schedule. So don't have to travel so much, just settle down here and maybe translate books. What does Srila Prabhupada say? Please do not take away from me the privilege of struggling for Krishna. So that's the option. It is this option that we make by exercising our free will. What is our free will? To struggle for Krishna or to not struggle for Krishna? Struggle we have to. That's the choice we have to make. Do we struggle for Krishna? And how much do we struggle for Krishna? And how much are we struggling for Krishna? I remember hearing from Srila Chandramauli Swami Maharaj long back that Krishna sees what you're doing for him. He is so grateful. We all know of the story of the fruit vendor. Just a little bit and he reciprocated. Or swalpam apesya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. But Krishna also sees, Maharaj said, what you are capable of doing but are still not doing. Like Srila Rupa Goswami says, it is a seva aparada if we do less than what we are capable of doing. Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj says, give till it pinches. If it doesn't pinch, that means you're not giving. It's very comfortable, that means you're not doing enough. In the corporate world, we call it a stretch target. Not we, they. Call it a stretch target. Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj says that Krishna consciousness itself is a shortcut. Please do not try to find more shortcuts within Krishna consciousness. So that option we have. How much do we want to struggle for Krishna? So in one sense, the core theme of today's lecture is struggling for Krishna, which we described a bit. Going beyond the struggle, the second theme I'd like to focus on is death. And various kinds of death. Here there is mentioned how King Puranjana began to think of his daughters, sons, grandsons, daughters-in-law, sons-in-law, servants, and other associates, as well as his house, his wealth. Imagine, so much to think of. So much to think of. Except Krishna, everything is thinking of. So if we spend a lifetime thinking of everything except Krishna, we will reach a deathbed where we can think of everything except Krishna. Actually, Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj confirms that be nice to the people you meet while you're alive. Chances are these are the people who will be with you at the time of death. So that brahmachari friend of yours who sleeps late and irritates you, or gets up too early and switches on the light, or chants loudly, could just be the person who will be chanting next to you when you're leaving the body, when I'm leaving my body. So we've got to value what we have, the association that we have by Srila Prabhupada's mercy. This particularly wonderful pastime that I've quoted at least 5 times in various lectures, and I want to mention this again for my purification. There was a drug addict who went into one of the temples in the US, possibly LA. He knocked and knocked and knocked, and he would knock every time the devotees opened him, he will say, food. So they'll give him food. But he was so groggy and incoherent in his language, and he was so stinking dirty that they called him Pig Pen. Because he was smelling like a pig pen. This is quoted by your Gurudev, Srila Indradev Swami Maharaj, in his memories of Srila Prabhupada. He says that, so this pig pen was so irritating, but they somehow had to give him some prasadam and they used to send him off. But once when Srila Prabhupada and the disciples were walking in the morning, one of the famous morning walks, Pigpen fell at his feet, tried to grab his feet. So they pushed him away and moved him into the bushes. He was living in the bushes outside the temple, somewhere there. So they moved him away. Now on another occasion, when they went for the walk, they came back, and probably because the door was ajar, they found that Pigpen was inside. So, Pigpen, what are you doing here? And before they could say anything, he jumped at Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet and clasped it tightly. And then started weeping uncontrollably. And Srila Prabhupada just caressed his head and said, that's all right, my boy, that's all right, my boy. He kept saying that. And then after some time, they obviously pulled Pigpen away. And now came the dilemma. Should we throw this guy out? Oh, no, Prabhupada has given him mercy. So they decided to keep him. And very soon, obviously they got him shaved up and gave him proper clothes. And very soon, Pigpen endeared himself to the people in the ashram because he was very good at cleaning things. Very ironical because he himself was not clean. But he started cleaning up things around him. Probably because he has gone through all that difficulty, he knows how it is to be unclean. So he started cleaning up. So he started cleaning up and he became very dear. And came marathon or one Sankirtan session. And devotees were about to leave on a van and they said, Pigpen said, we'll go. So they said, what are you going to do, Pigpen? Maybe, okay, maybe you want to clean the van, come. So they put him on the van and they started traveling. And when they reached a place near a parking lot where they had to park, I mean, this is USA, so you have to find a parking lot to park your bus or van. So when they were doing so, Pigpen also grabbed a bag and some books. They said, Pigpen, what are you going to do? He said, don't worry, he will come back. So he went into the parking lot and then after some time in the evening or late afternoon when the van was about to leave, Pigpen came back with an empty book bag. So he said, what did he must have given it off to somebody. Don't worry, we will cover the cost. He said, then Pigpen got out the money and gave him the money. He said, did you sell all the books? He said, yes. So what did you do? I showed book. And then what did you say? Prabhupada saved me. Prabhupada saved me because Pigpen was convinced that Prabhupada saved him. Om ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. That gratitude he had, he said, Prabhupada said me, if I can be saved, so can you be. And this should be our mood during book distribution. If such a useless personality as me, I'm not saying you should think like that. I mean, I should think like that about you, or you should think like that about others. But one should think about oneself that way. I'm such a useful person. And by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, today, I have at least theoretically understood that I am not the body, but I am the soul. I have at least theoretically understood that Krishna's prasadam should be honored. I have at least theoretically understood that Krishna is a person and is present as the deity. I have at least theoretically understood that the association of devotees is the very basis of devotional life. And I have understood at least theoretically that books are the basis. And above all, Srila Prabhupada himself mentioning that he lives forever in his books. If I have known so much, and I've seen how Prabhupada has transformed me in the last few years of my conditioned struggle for existence, shouldn't I be sharing this mercy with others? Should I not be doing that? Prabhupada saved me, so he should save you also. Prabhupada saved me, so let me escape and you go to hell. Is that what is our mood? No, Vaishnavas have to be paradukha dukhi. And how will we become Vaishnavas? By practicing Vaishnavism. We may not be paradukha dukhi. At least to start with, we can be avoiding being paradukha sukhi, which is violence. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says one who is non-violent will preach. And preaching means book distribution. So, it is imperative for every single practitioner of Krishna consciousness at varying levels of struggle in Krishna consciousness to distribute books, as Srila Prabhupada would say. And because Srila Prabhupada once told Hamsadut Prabhu, I think in Gorakhpur, our books are gold in the beginning, in the middle and the end. So you can speak from anywhere. He was asking, where should I speak when I'm preaching? I don't know what to speak to these people of India. So Srila Prabhupada has written everything and given us on a platter. We just have to get it delivered. The money that is given is incidental. The process of reaching the book to the innumerable conditioned souls is called book distribution. Incidentally, it is not called the book selling marathon. It is called the book distribution marathon. So our job is to distribute the books. Some may take the book and give us some Lakshmi which we will deposit in ISKCON. Some may not take the book. But we have distributed the book. The process of distribution has been initiated by us. So this we must understand. When we say nimitta matram bhava savya sachin, that is the nimitta. There is an instance of one devotee in the US mentioning, I think he is, probably, what is his name? Just let me check. His name is Stamba Bhava Prabhu. Very interesting name. Stamba Bhava. Narasimha Bhagavan ki jai. So his name is Stamba Bhava and Stamba Bhava. That's what it is. One who appeared from a pillar. Stamba Bhava Prabhu. So he was distributing books in New Zealand. And he saw that almost till afternoon there were no books going. Usual experience, how many people have had this experience? Okay, many people have not had this experience, so great book distributors. But I have spent a lifetime trying to distribute books and I've been only trying. Just not happened. And this person had a very bad day. So he heard that Kripamai Prabhu from, I guess, ISKCON Soho Street, he has a prayer video wherein he says, pray to Narada Muni, Vyasadev, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. Pray when you're not able to distribute books. Pray that you can become instruments of their mercy. So Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj used to go out and preach to the academicians, professors and librarians. for taking book sets on wholesale basis. And he used to invariably pray before he would leave the temple that please Srila Prabhupada, please make him an instrument to distribute your books. So this instrument will make the struggle easier. When we become the instrument, it's somebody else's game, somebody else's activity. When we are trying to do it ourselves, it is a struggle. When we become an instrument, it is somebody else's. So does the mic bother whether I am able to reach the words to you or not? The mic's job is just to be itself and do its job. Whether I have a loud voice, whether the electricity is off, none of its business. The mic has to simply do its job. So we have to be just instruments to enlarge Srila Prabhupada's Vani, to magnify it, to modulate it and reach it to people. Just like the mic magnifies our volume. So that is being a nimitta. And there are so many instances of this person, therefore, let's come back to this case. This person was praying. And after he prayed, in the post-lunch session, $20 bills started pouring in. And so his book distribution improved. And when he finally reached, I think the place was Dunedin in New Zealand. So when he finally was about to leave, there was a camping truck which just came in. And from it stepped out a woman. Her name was Laura. And he said, welcome to New Zealand. So she was very happy, thrilled. And she gave him a sense of self-realization. So then she was so overjoyed. She said, I can't believe this. I was separated from my boyfriend. I decided to take up a life of eco-preservation. Then I found out that there are so many pesticides and chemicals being used in carpet bombing the green foliage that I stopped getting into environment and I wanted to get something spiritual. And I came here. And when I came into the city, the first thing I see is this book. So we never know whose life is getting transformed. There are so many cases where somebody is preaching inside a train. The person we are preaching to doesn't take the book. Somebody else who's heard the preaching comes and takes the book. So therefore, in this struggle, there is no death. When Puranjana was overcome by this situation, pretty interesting how he reacted. It is mentioned in Sarartha Darshini by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, his commentary, that since he was a foolish householder, he says, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says he was a foolish householder. Who is a foolish householder? One who thinks actually that Dehapatya Kalatradishu Atma Sainya Sasatsvapi Tesham Pramato Nidanam Pashyannapi na Pashyati. This body, the wife, Kalatra Adishu, children, etc. Wife, children, etc. Atma Sainya Sasatsvapi. So one thinks that he is the, these are the armies, Atma Sainya. They are the armies who will protect him. Here it is mentioned, Atma Avashishtam. The word that is used is Avashishtam, remaining. Swaha, Swatva Avashishtam. Whatever is remaining of myself. When I leave, my wife will be left behind. When I leave, my children will be left behind. When I leave, my wealth will be left behind. So, Swatva Avashishtam. That is Atma Sainya. But it is Asatsvapi, Bhagavatam says. It is temporary. The biggest problem that comes in, of course, Jami means daughter-in-law. Then there's Jamatra. Just like Arjuna on the battlefield fell. Putran, Pautran, Pitran, everybody. Shvashuran, Matulan. Everybody was there and he got bewildered. What do I do? They have assembled for a battle here. How can I kill them? That's one kind of fear. How can I kill them? But is that fear compassion? Krishna says, Klaibya mamsma gama partha naitatva upapadyate kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tektva tishta parantava. He calls it hridaya daurbalyam. And kshudram, degrading impotence, Krishna calls it. This is compassion for other people dying. What to speak about compassion to oneself dying? There is a very limit. It is the worst of fear. Worst possible fear. Trayate mahato bhayat. This is the fear. So the very first divine quality, what is the first divine quality Krishna explains in Gita? Abhayam. Abhayam sattva samshuddhim. All these qualities that he mentions. Abhayam. Fearlessness. And for us in Krishna consciousness, even in devotion there may be fear. But this fear is overcome by taking shelter of Abhaya Charana Ravinda's books. And that Abhayam will save us. And elsewhere, Srila Prabhupada mentions in his purport, in 27th chapter, that in a devotee's life also Jara comes. Jara takes shelter of a devotee. Or Kala Kanya, she takes shelter of a devotee. But what does she do? She helps the person remember Krishna better, that when I am going to die, I will go back to Godhead. So the fear is practically removed for that person. Just like Maharaj Khattavanga got to know that he was going to die. Or King Parishit got to know that he was going to die. Special mercy. So that they could prepare for death. And by chance, even if we are not ready for death, Abhimanyu, you know what Abhimanyu means? The first part of Abhi means, again, same from Abhaya. Fearless. So, when we get into the battlefield, just like Abhimanyu went in, he was just 18 years old. Doesn't matter how many, 18 years old. So, our death is pretty much here. Like Srila Prabhupada says, we must chant with a mood that death is right in front of us. When we have that kind of a fear, then we will chant better. We had so many experiences. I've shared this here once before. Every time I take a flight, it is like Krishna's mercy. I may be dozing off and all of a sudden we are very sorry to say due to turbulence in weather, we'll have to be remaining seated. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Suddenly the attachment to the holy name increases. But it is not that every time Krishna has to give us this warning. So therefore we should be constantly prepared for this death. And in one sense, when we are distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, we are distributing deathlessness. And every time we distribute deathlessness, we will be scared of death less. Because we are distributing Abhaya. Because we are distributing deathless books. So we will be scared of death less. This is something that we have to understand. And therefore there is no loss. No loss or diminution. Prabhupada uses this word. And look at other deaths, other glorious deaths. Srila Prabhupada's own disappearance in Vrindavan, translating Bhagavatam till the very end. See how Vritrasura left his body. And he is saying, Mamottama Sloka Jananusankyam Samsara Dukkhe Brahmata Swakarma Bihi Twan Maya Atmatmaja Daragehesh Asaktva Chittasya Nanata Bhuyat. He is praying to the Lord. Twan Maya, because of your illusion. Twan Maya Atma Atmatmaja. My attachment to my body, my son, Dara, wife, Geha, house, may be able to overcome all this attachment. And then what? Asakta Chittasya, may be attached to your lotus feet. So he's praying for that. He's not praying that I should not die. Or like Prabhupada is saying, doctor, please prolong my death for some more time so that I can continue sense gratification. It is mentioned elsewhere that the biggest attachment that he had was actually for his wife. What will happen to her? Who will take care of my wife? Or who will take care of my husband? So this fear is the cause for material conditional existence. Attraction to one's physical possessions, including the body, the extended bodies, and the wealth that here is Svatva Avashishtam, is the cause for material conditioned existence. Whatever we get attached to, yap prayat is a madbhavam, yati nasti atra samshayaha. Krishna says there is no doubt. When leaving the body, if we try to remember Krishna, we will attain his bhava. But if we think of anything else, we will attain that bhava. We have discussed it so often. So when you keep distributing books, it becomes an internalized process. Like I'm sure there are many devotees who will be, I remember, I think His Grace Madhusundar Prabhu, long back in Panchsheel, when we used to get trained. This was, I think, 2001, something. So, at night he would suddenly, by mistake, during japa, I think he kind of dozed off. It was not during night. And during japa, he dreamt that somebody had taken a book and he had not given him cash. So he started extending his hand. I think it is Madhusundar Prabhu. But if that's the kind of consciousness that we have into our subconscious, then we'll forever be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. And like Vritrasura prayed, Aham harer tava padeka mulo dasanu dasa bhavitasmi bhuyaha manas mriter ashuk gunanste grinita vak karma karotu kayaha. May I forever follow the footsteps of your dasa anudasa, your servants. Please may I remember you always. Please may I work for you using my hands. Please may I speak only those words that glorify you. And thus, please may I remember your qualities all the time. And by studying Srila Prabhupada's books and distributing them, we can forever remember Krishna's qualities. So that when death does come upon us, we could also, like Vritrasura told Indra, that I am not scared of death because I will go back to Godhead. You have a position to lose, so you are scared. So quite similarly, when somebody doesn't take a book, I am not scared that you are not taking the book. You have money to lose according to you. So you have a problem giving it away. I have no problem giving away this book to as many people as possible. Because it is mercy. Of course, we shouldn't give it away free. Because Prabhupada didn't say that we should give it away free. Even to Brahmanand Prabhu, who sponsored one of the early copies of his books, he asked him to, when the first copy came, print copy came, Brahmanand Prabhu took it. Prabhupada asked him for the money. So, we have to understand that these books are priceless. They may not be priced less, but they are priceless. So we have to be very conscious of the fact that death is an eternal possibility every time for us, as long as we are in the struggle for existence. And the best way to overcome the struggle for existence is to struggle yet, but struggle for Krishna. And that is a big privilege, as Srila Prabhupada proved us. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Translation Book Distribution ki jai. Ms. Tina devotees can speak something.
हरे कृष्णा, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. तो आज के श्लोक में जो वर्णन आ रहा है कि महाराज पुरंजन अपने परिवार के लिए अपनी सामग्रियां, अपनी वस्तुएं, इनके लिए चिंता कर रहे हैं. जब शरीर छूट रहा है तो उनके लिए चिंता कर रहे हैं. तो प्रभुपाद का जो संदेश हम लोग पढ़ते हैं सवेरे, उसमें एक संदेश में प्रभुपाद कहते हैं कि मैं चाहे मरूं चाहे जीऊं, ये मेरी हमेशा ही चिंता रहेगी कि मेरी इन पुस्तकों की सुरक्षा हो. तो प्रभुपाद की चिंता है, राजा पुरंजन की चिंता है अपने शरीर, अपने परिवार, अपने सब पूरा. तो प्रभुपाद की चिंता है अपनी पुस्तकों की. उनकी पुस्तकें 80 हैं, जितनी भी हों, कितनी पुस्तकें हैं, तो उनका प्रभुपाद का यही परिवार है, यही उनकी संपत्ति है जिसकी वो चिंता कर रहे हैं कि इनकी सुरक्षा हो. और हमारा भी जो है यही है कि अगर अंतकाल तक जो है यही चिंता करें कि पुस्तकें कितनी अधिक से अधिक बांटी जाएं, तो ये चिंता हमारी रक्षा करेगी. तो हमें फिर ये चिंता करने की जरूरत नहीं, अपने शरीर की, अपने परिवार की चिंता करने की जरूरत नहीं है. इस चिंता को आप ले लीजिए तो आप उस चिंता से मुक्त हो जाएंगे. हरि बोल.
You want to say something, Mike?
बहुत ही सुंदर अवसर है, जैसा गीता मित्र प्रभु कह रहे हैं, हम लोग अपनी चिंता छोड़ करके भगवत गीता की चिंता करें. और कल गीता जयंती भी है, तो इस गीता जयंती के उपलक्ष्य में हम लोगों की गीता जयंती पूरा 1 महीने चलती है, दिसंबर पूरा महीना, 5 दिन आगे पीछे भी चलता है. तो ये चिंता लेके चलें कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा, जितना ज़्यादा हम गीता बांटेंगे उतने ज़्यादा हम समृद्धशाली बनेंगे. स्पिरिचुअल कॉइन हमारे पास उतने ज़्यादा आएगा. श्रील प्रभुपाद बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन मैराथन की बोल परमानंदे.
Prabhu, would you like to say something? It'll take a minute, that's all. I don't think any of us will just run to the room, take our book bags and run out. We have time till 9 o'clock for prasada.
Actually, I am not involved in book distribution effectively, but this this is an extension of mercy. You know, Prabhupada's mercy is being extended, you know, unlimitedly by distributing books, whereby, you know, people could be brought back to their original consciousness and lead their life, you know, on eternal basis. You know, just that is the real goal of in the human form of life. You know, everyone should aspire for. So these books are real panacea for all ills of human society. You know, just whereby we can really become situated in our own true glory. Otherwise, we are misled in so many ways, and life is miserable. You know, just that we don't realize. This realization is going to be done only by taking the message of Krishna consciousness seriously. That appears in the form of Prabhupada's books. These have to be given, you know, profusely, you know, around Hari Bol.
Thank you. Thank you. Anantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada Translated Book Distribution ki, Nitai Nitai Gar Sitanath Premanande.